George A. Romero's Resident Evil 2 live-action commercial is as close as fans will ever get to his cancelled movie adaptation. Capcom's Resident Evil, aka Biohazard, started life as a remake of the developer's own survival horror title Sweet Home. This 1989 game was intended as a tie-in to the cult horror movie of the same name, and Capcom felt a 3D game that used similar mechanics had a lot of potential. This remake morphed into a standalone title instead, and while the company had modest hopes of it, Resident Evil became a surprise smash. The follow-up Resident Evil 2 went through a famously messy production, where one build was scrapped entirely when it was decided it wasn't scary or exciting enough. The sequel went on to become a huge seller, and it was clear Capcom had a franchise on its hands. The Resident Evil games are also credited with reviving, pun partly intended, the zombie genre, which had been flagging for many years. The first two entries were heavily inspired by the works of George Romero, who was later hired to direct a commercial for Resident Evil 2. This advert was a pricey endeavor too, costing Capcom over $1 million to produce. The Resident Evil 2 commercial cast Adrian France as Claire Redfield and Brad Renfro as Leon Kennedy, the heroes of the game, as they are besieged by the undead in the PD station. Renfro was cast because of his popularity with Japanese teenagers, but his contract stated the advert couldn't be aired outside of Japan, making it hard to see before the advent of the Internet. Following the success of the Resident Evil 2 commercial, Romero was quickly contacted about developing a Resident Evil movie. A Japanese commercial landed George Romero the Resident Evil movie. Watch the video here. A screenplay for Romero's Resident Evil later made its way online, and outside of some character changes, it's surprisingly faithful to the structure of the first game. The film also would have been more action-driven, but after developing Resident Evil with the movie rights holders, a German company named Constantine Film, Romero was fired from the project. He claimed the producers didn't like his script or quite understand the property itself, while the producers themselves apparently felt the level of violence Romero would bring to the film would limit its mass appeal. In a sense, Romero's Resident Evil 2 commercial is the closest thing to his version of the movie fans will see. Even though it lasts less than a minute and has a cheesy score, it also looks very cinematic and, most importantly, is a lot of fun. Romero's Resident Evil would have brought a B-movie charm to the material, which is what a live-action take needed.
My heart returns to you. Dinner, you were great. We can go back to mine if you want to. You look so good. I want to do that. I must be tripping. God, catch my breath. Oh.